Every few years, I find myself often coming back to a few staple game series from my childhood. Around this time of year, I typically play a Sly Cooper game, but seeing as I played through all of them for this channel, I decided to change things up a bit and play another all-time classic PS2 game. Today we're taking a look at Ratchet and Clank. We begin our journey on a planet named Veldin. It's located in the Solana galaxy. Here we meet Ratchet, a young tinker who's trying to build a spaceship so he can get off the planet. Unbeknownst to him, somewhere far off on a distant planet, a newly constructed sentry robot comes out of the conveyor belt. Not that one, but that one. Well, this little guy, upon his creation, stumbles upon an infobot that he wasn't supposed to see. Next thing he knows, he's being chased by his Robo-Bros. The robot escapes on a spacecraft and unfortunately takes a few too many shots. This sends him crash landing onto Ratchet's home planet. Ratchet sees the harsh landing and goes to investigate. Once the robot comes to his senses, we learn that the well-spoken fellow's name is...
Sorry. Oh, and by the way, you can stop calling me sir. The name's Ratchet.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, sir.
You got a name?
My serial number is V54296.
Oops. I'll just call you Clank for short.
Ratchet then learns through Clank's infobot about the dastardly plans of Chairman Drek. Chairman Drek is letting the whole Solana galaxy know about his plans to build a new planet for his people, the Blarg. Why is he doing this? Well, the Blarg have polluted their own planet, Orxon, so the chairman's grandiose plan is to take suitable chunks out of other planets and use them to form his own brand spanking new one. Bro's legit ready to commit galaxy-wide genocide to save his own people? That's wild. Well, I guess that would be the case if it weren't for our dynamic duo. Ratchet wants to get help from Captain Quark. Quark is the only person Ratchet knows who is powerful enough to stop Chairman Drek. So off the two go on their grand space adventure. Using Clank's ability to initialize spacecrafts, the two take off in the homemade rocket and crash land on the distant planet of Novalis. This game's second level is a great example of how beautiful this game's art style is. The colors are vibrant and all the worlds are unique and interesting to look at. Even Orxon, the one planet I dislike, but that has to do more with the wildlife there and not so much the environment. The enemies come in many shapes and sizes, each ranging from invading Blarg soldiers to the planet's natural creatures. Some are even robots. Even the Blarg come in different sizes or different gear, or some even fly helicopters or have cool-ass attack dogs. I love the variety here. Some of my favorites are Hovercon for its snowy look, Pokitaru for its beautiful colors and expansive water, and Eudora for that lumberjack feel. While on Novalis, the troublesome twosome manage to save the planetary chairman from Drek's assault. Not only does the chairman give Ratchet a new ship as thanks for saving him, but he also gives him an infobot that tells him about Captain Quark's commercial for Big Al's RoboShack, located on planet Kerwan. So, with enthusiasm and hope, Ratchet and Clank make their way to Metropolis on Kerwan in hopes of meeting their idol. Here on Metropolis, I'd like to get into the main mechanics of the game. Ratchet and Clank is a 3D platformer action game. The player controls Ratchet for a majority of the time. Ratchet has a double jump, a 3-hit strike, a jump attack, and he can crouch. Throughout your adventure, you'll be collecting bolts. Bolts are the currency for this game. You get them for just about anything. Killing enemies and breaking certain environmental pieces can give you bolts. Boxes contain loads of money. Some can only be broken by explosions, but lucky for us, there's usually a bomb box nearby. I also, mind you, love that they use the same sound effect as the bomb crates from Crash Bandicoot. Fun fact, Naughty Dog and Insomniac were sharing ideas and technologies at the time of the creation of both their respective games at this time, that other one being Jak and Daxter. I heard tale that they shared an office space or something, or a building, and they're or one office was across the street or whatever from the other office or something like that. I forgot the exact thing, but they worked closely together. Bolts allow Ratchet and Clank to purchase weapons, gadgets, and items. The weapons are varied and unique in terms of what they can do. But in terms of design, however, let's just say there are a lot of gloves in this game. Why don't we talk about them for a second? All the gloves allow Ratchet to throw a ball either while standing still, walking, or during his first jump and his glide. The bomb glove is the first weapon in the game, and it's actually pretty useful throughout the entirety of this game. You throw a bomb and it explodes on impact. The damage is roughly equivalent to a jump attack. Super simple, really effective. Stacking onto the bomb glove idea, the mine glove is the slightly better yet very situational version of the bomb glove. Here you throw a mine, and when an enemy enters its area, the mine homes in on them and explodes. The issue is that the mine glove's radius of attack is pretty small. Most of the later enemies attack with ranged weapons, or worse, they're flying types. The mine glove does have its uses, but in certain levels it's outclassed by earlier weapons. The Glove of Doom is one of my favorite weapons. You throw a sphere like any of the other gloves, but this bad boy spawns 4 Doom bots. These little suckers run up to any grounded enemy and strike with the fear of God upon them. Under fire by a bunch of Dooms? No worry, Glove of Doom kills them all. Don't feel like running up to an enemy? Let the walking mines do it for you. It's a blast to use. Literally. Lastly, and probably least, the Decoy Glove does what's on the tin. You throw a decoy and enemies attack it. Once its health runs out, it explodes, taking out anything that's nearby. In concept, I can see a few uses for this weapon, but by the time you can buy it, you already have access to some of the best weapons in the game. Even worse off, the enemies it's likely going to be taking out are the small enemies, which yes, have a tendency to swarm you, but I do have a solution for that problem. Let me introduce you to sweeper type weapons, as I like to call them. I call them that because I can sweep side to side and take out anything within the weapon's ranges. Your first available weapon in this category is the Pyrocidor. It's a motherfucking flamethrower. That's it. It's badass, does its job well, and it does get outclassed by later weapons, but honestly, you can use this one throughout the entire game too, like even all the way into the late game. It's super useful, it's cheap in terms of its ammo, and the frequent drops make it a handy tool at any point in the game. You can't go wrong with the Pyrocidor. The best version of this weapon, though, is the Tesla Claw. It's a lightning thrower. It's like a flamethrower, but with lightning. I didn't think I'd say that phrase again, but I'm glad I'll probably keep it around. I'm going to be using this probably a bunch of times. It has a better range than the Pyrocidor, and it even individually targets enemies. I think it can only damage enemies at the tip of the attack, however. I'm not sure if it's technically like a sweeping style weapon, and like what I mean by that is like I'm not sure if sweeping an enemy with it, hitting the side of the lightning hurts them, or maybe it's just a little finicky and it doesn't work all the time. But I do like that it individually targets enemies, and it has a super duper long range, so I don't have to even worry about it half the time. The worst sweep weapon, though, might be the Morpho Ray. It's a silly weapon. You shoot Ghostbusters-like crossed beam at an enemy, and it turns them into a chicken. The chickens can even act as decoys, I think, or maybe that's just the upgrade. Not sure. I haven't really tested it out much. The issue is that the Morpho Ray is only really good at turning small enemies into chickens. Much like the Tesla Claw, it homes in on enemies, which can be annoying because the bigger enemies take a second to transform. You see, you need to fill this meter to turn enemies into chickens. The small enemies are immediately turned into them, while the bigger enemies take a hot second to build that meter. So if the beam snaps to a larger enemy, then it snaps to a different one, you'll have to rebuild that first enemy's meter back up. It's kind of annoying, you can probably see the issue with that. But lastly, my favorite weapon in the game, the Suck Cannon. Look, I know, objectively speaking, it's not that good a weapon, but it's just so much fucking fun. Like, you can inhale up to 5 small enemies at a time and launch them as ammo. Having limited ammo is this weapon's biggest issue, but I do just love running into a horde of little B-bots and using them to destroy the other enemies. The other issue is that the Suck Cannon doesn't do the best job at taking out flying enemies. The mangled up corpses that you're launching tend to roll on the ground like a bowling ball, so like you can't necessarily always hit a flying enemy. But fuck is it fun to use. The next weapon type are the blasters. This group consists of just 2 weapons, the blaster and the taunter. The blaster is a rapid-fire pistol that does damage equivalent to a single strike from a wrench per bullet. It has decent range, and the ammo is pretty cheap too. Honestly, you can use this on your kit throughout the entire game. It's a good weapon. It's quick, effective, and it has good range. The Taunter, on the other hand, is situational at best, near useless at worst. Basically, it taunts enemies into squaring up with you. This is most useful in areas where there are laser grid fences or maybe like a pit for them to walk off of. The other use of the Taunter is the ability to break boxes quickly, but it's honestly more fun to just kind of thwack them anyway. There are two melee weapons, the Walloper and the Omni Wrench 8000. The Omni Wrench is the better of the two weapons. That and the Bomb Glove are the starting weapons of the game. The Omni Wrench attacks in decently wide arcs. It can take out multiple enemies, and it can even allow you to cancel out of an attack into a jump to either dodge or to set up a hyper strike like the jump attack. It can even be thrown when you're crouched, making it a ranged option too, which can be super useful for certain enemies like the aliens or those godforsaken fucking evil toxic crabs. Fuck those guys. Anyway, the Walloper is like having a strong, fast jump attack that can break those bomb boxes. The issue is that it isn't as versatile as the Wrench. It can only attack in straight lines. Granted, I do love this weapon, but I definitely see its flaws. I have a tendency to really like shitty weapons. Just not sorry about that. I think it's best used against these like bomb enemies. They typically die in one hit with the Walloper, but it takes normally 3 hits from the Wrench. So like that's the best use for the Walloper. The last category weapon is the launchers. These are the best weapons in the game, except for the drone device. I didn't really know where to put this one because it's not really a like blaster. It's not a bomb glove. It's not a launcher. You know what I mean? Like it didn't have a space, but it kind of does what the launchers do. The drone device is a group of homing bombs that encircle Ratchet. When you're close to an enemy, they attack. It's okay, I guess. But the best defense of this game is a strong offense, and by that I mean suck cannon, baby! The Devastator is the best all-around gun in the game. It does decent damage, it has fantastic range, it can home in on enemies if the reticle's on them, but that's true for any weapon. Also, the ammo isn't really all that expensive. I mean, it's more expensive than like the blaster or the Paraster, but it's really not that bad. It's a good choice to use on like stronger enemies. The Visibomb is the second most powerful weapon in the game, but you might want to use other weapons in direct combat though. The Visibomb is a player-operated guided missile. Think the Predator missiles from Call of Duty. The controls are reversed, so it can take a little to get used to, but once you do, every enemy becomes your bitch, but from a distance. Up close, the enemies will just slap you out of the controls. The Visibomb is even used to unlock secret areas. It's pretty sweet. I do quite like the Visibomb. It's a lot of fun. One of my favorite things to do is just kind of explore the world through the eyes of the Visibomb. But everything in this game pales in comparison to the best gun in the game, the Rip Ya New One, or Rhino for short. In all intents and purposes, this bad mamma jamma is a screen nuke. You point and shoot, and anything in its way gets destroyed. It's awesome. The last boss is pretty tough normally, but with the Rhino, it finishes every stage in one shot. Unless you miss a rocket, then I'll take 2 shots. It's a fantastic weapon with 2 drawbacks. 1, it's the only weapon in the game to not spawn ammo in ammo crates. And 2, the price of admission on this tool destruction is going to merit that you play through the game on New Game Plus, collecting every bolt you possibly can in order to pay that steep 150,000 bolt price tag.
This thing is heavy! Yeah, try carrying it around in your trench coat for 2 months.
Thank you, sir. We'll be sure to tell everyone about your services.
Listen, you little twerp. If you tell anyone what you saw or what we talked about,
Do I even have to say it?
yous two have a nice day.
Gadgets and items are often given to you by NPCs for a price. Your first gadgets are going to be obtained here in Kerwan. Big Al begins this off by upgrading Clank with his Helipack. The Helipack allows Ratchet to long jump and high jump, reaching platforms and ledges that are just out of the reach of a standard double jump. Gliding is the other new ability you gain from this gadget. Later on in the adventure, you'll also come across the Thruster Pack. This is a slightly better heli pack, allowing you to do the same motions as before. This, however, gets you the abilities to use the Power Slam and Hover. The Power Slam mainly opens up a specific switch or two throughout the game, while the Hover ability negates ice physics, and it is the only method to strafe in this game. You cannot, however, jump while hovering, making it a bit difficult to dodge certain attacks. To round off the pack upgrades, we come across the Hydro Pack in Hoven. This pack allows Clank to push Ratchet underwater at higher speeds. Combine this with the O2 mask and you'll be able to breathe and swim underwater at your leisure. The O2 mask is also helpful in exploring the Blarg homeworld of Orxon as Ratchet. There are also two types of boots you'll be earning in this game. The grind boots allow Ratchet to rail grind through obstacles. While grinding, you can attack and jump. Jumping from rail to rail can be useful in order to get secrets or to just survive and not get hit by a train. While the magnet boots are used to walk on magnetic surfaces. The boots are okay. They move slower than your base speed, but not by much. This can create some tense platforming moments where you're about to be burned alive, or when you're upside down being attacked by pterodactyls. Or like that cool sphere room. Like, there are some cool moments with it. There are 3 gadgets that I usually have in rotation on my quick select wheel, as well as one I like to keep permanently on. The permanent one is found on Kerwan. After meeting a robo-duplicate of Captain Quark, we partake in an obstacle course. At the end of it, we are told that we're pathetic by Captain Quark's personal trainer. She reluctantly gives us the swing shot after we pay the lady. The swing shot is a gadget in which you get to, what'd you say?
I'm supposed to give you a swing shot, so you can sway to and fro like little insects.
The swing shot is a gadget in which you use to zip from platform to platform or swing from these yellow swing points. You'll be using this little guy throughout the entire adventure. So now on to my rotations. The Trespasser can be found on Aridia after doing a swing shot course. This gadget unlocks doors by allowing you to play a little minigame with lasers and shields. Rotate the lasers so that they line up with the points to open the doors. Some of these later ones give me a little trouble, but after staring at it long enough I usually am able to crack it. They're not too bad. The other gadget I like to rotate on my quick select wheel is the Hydro Displacer. You come across this tool after exploring the outside of the Blarg Technical Research Station as Clank. We'll talk about that in a second. The Hydro Displacer lets you move large pools of water from one location to another. Filling and draining water will help you solve puzzles, kill certain enemies, or traverse through certain landscapes. Some of the other gadgets I'll talk about as we progress through the story, but right now I want to talk about a few of the items you'll be encountering. We mentioned Aridia a little earlier when talking about the Trespasser, but if you help Skidd McMarx, which is still the funniest name in this game, if you help Skidd McMarx, you'll receive a hoverboard. The hoverboard lets you partake in hoverboard races. Winning a race earns you the Zoominator. While in the race, you'll be able to hit dash pads and take long jumps off ramps. With the Zoominator, you're able to earn turbo boosts when you land tricks. The more complex the trick is, the more boost you'll be earning. In the second race, you'll even be able to launch missiles at your other riders. These races are pretty fun and can be quite challenging, especially if you decide to take on the skill points. Yeah, more on the skill points a little later. With the Zoominator in hand, you can even unlock the Sonic Summoner from Skidd's agent. This goofy looking helmet lets our heroes get aid from a teeny tiny sandmouse. These little guys are mighty, however, for when summoned from their Dirtman lair, they annihilate anything in your way. They only last a short time though, but in that minute or so you have them, they will kill everything from scout bots to cannon tanks. They do not discriminate. While progressing throughout the world, saving people from Supreme Chairman Drek, you'll stumble upon some more useful items. Items like the Bulk Grabber. After surviving through electric waters on Quartu, earn the ability to pull more money from longer distances. The Map-O-Matic allows you to see secrets on your map. We're given this from the Help Desk girl. Also, I just found out that she's the one giving you hints the entire game. I never put 2 and 2 together. Thanks, Wiki. Anyway, on Pokitaru, there's a guy who wants Raritanium, and in exchange for going to Hoven and helping out the miner, he gives us the Persuader.
This is precisely what I need. You will bring me more Raritanium.
You can't be serious.
Well, I tried.
The Persuader gives us the needed discounts on all Gadgetron weapons and ammo. Quite a useful one. It works a little weirdly in the New Game Plus. It says that you have it, but you don't actually have the benefits until you talk to him again. Until you give him the Raritanium again. The code bot is used to open a special lock on Quartu. You find it on Drek's fleet after braving another electric water trial. With the O2... I was also told that the code bot had originally been planned to have more of a use throughout the game, but they, through like time restrictions, ended up only using it once. With the O2 mask on, we can spend way too much money on health upgrades. After spending a collective 34,000 bolts on 2 sodas, you'll have 8 health points. After buying the helipack from Big Al's, we go on a cool train segment where we shoot some dudes off the trolleys. Watching the infobot that we were after this whole time sends us to Eudora. This planet has Drek's lieutenant, and after he shuts himself from Clank's kung fu skills, we make it to the Blarg's Tactical Research Station. Here we can play as Clank solo dolo. As Clank, we can punch small enemies and break the containment units that hold the gadget bots as well as glide. Clank can use these bots by communicating with them. They can wait to avoid obstacles or stand on switches. They can follow you as well as enter into teleporters or into doors to progress through the level. And they can even gang up on enemies big or small with the attack command. Should any Gadgetbot find themselves being defeated by an enemy or by being blown up in a bomb field, they can be found where you saved them originally. We're talking like specifically, like whatever robot you found, they go back to their specific entrance, by the way. It's not like, oh, the nearest one. No, it's like there is, if the one you picked up that's furthest away dies, you're fucked. You have to walk all the way back. After exploring around, we stumble upon the Alien Queen. She is the first boss of the game. She used to give me trouble as a kid, but then again, I was also afraid to run out of ammo while using my weapons, so I spent a long time trying to learn her patterns, like it was a Dark Souls boss or something. While on the station, we get an infobot to Rilgar. On Rilgar, we pay a hefty sum to a bodyguard, and here we meet the famous Captain Quark. He says he'll train us because he's impressed by our talent, so off to Quark's secret training headquarters on Umbris we go. This training area seems to be filled with deadly traps and enemies that can kill us. That's strange. Oh well. After getting passed through every obstacle, Quark traps us in the Snagglebeast lair. We have been bamboozled, deceived, subterfuged. Why, Quark? Why? You were Ratchet's hero. Look at this cool poster in my garage. How could you? Captain Quark was really the spokesperson for Drek's disgrace of a planet this whole time. Oh, how greed can change even the most righteous of persons. Damn you, capitalism. Killing the Snagglebeast in a fiery pit allows the duo to find an infobot for Batalia, a planet that's being attacked by Supreme Chairman Drek's forces. Clank wanted to be a hero and save the people from Drek's conquest, while Ratchet is only fueled by anger and revenge for being tricked. Ratchet reluctantly agrees to steal one of Quark's ships because he needs Clank to operate it. So, on to Planet Batalia. Ratchet meets the commando from the infobot who wants us to take out all the ships, but we need the Magnapoos in order to progress. Returning with them, we meet the plumber again. We met him earlier in the game, but it wasn't worth talking about outside of that silly little joke.
And blast it!
Look, plumber's crack.
What did you just say?
I said, look, the plumber's back.
He gives us the metal detector. It allows us to find hidden bolts. I unironically love this thing. I have a blast following the sonar beams every time I use it. It's just one of those simple gadgets that you pick up, you know what I mean? It's like just one of those things that you just have. It's useless, doesn't really help you on the adventure, but it's just like, oh wait, I can stop here and pick up bolts, I'll do that. Like, it's just so silly and I enjoy it. It reminds me of Animal Crossing. That's what it reminds me of. It's like shoveling in the beach. They lead to pitiful amounts of bolts every time, but it's just a silly little gadget that makes running back to old planets a little more fun when looking for secrets and finding hidden bolt areas or what have you. There is a turret section here. In fact, Ratchet and Clank has a few of these, but I'll get there in a bit. After blowing up the ships, we save Batalia. Along the way, we found the location of Orxon, the Blarg's home planet. Orxon is too polluted for Ratchet to walk around without the O2 mask, but on Orxon, Clank finds the Magnet Boots and a nice, relaxing vacation spot on Pokitaru via another infobot. Ratchet is immediately ready to go, but Clank has hesitation. Convincing Clank with the potential of receiving an O2 mask, they head over to Pokitaru. While on Pokitaru, we learn that the Blarg are polluting the oceans on this planet. But we need to get the pilot's helmet to save the planet. To our luck, Planet Gaspar has it. We learn this from a deserter on Batalia. But that's not what's important. What is important is the ability to fly battleships with the pilot's helmet. Flying is a lot of fun. You can boost, you can shoot a minigun, and you also have homing missiles while flying the battleships. They're a joy. Blowing up Blarg ships can earn you health and missiles. There are a couple of these segments throughout the game, and they are all a major blast to play through. Returning to Orxon with the O2 mask lets us deal with the annoying enemies of this planet. We find an infobot that tells us about Hoven, a planet that's about to be blown up by the Planet Buster Maximus, so the duo go to the snowy wonderland of Hoven, where we use a turret to take out the Planet Buster. Turrets in this game are very simple and very fun. You point and shoot at things. Simple. There's no like zoom in or anything, it's just point and shoot. The Planet Buster segment can be tough because you're constantly being attacked by Blarg helicopters. The one on Batalia is fun too. The ships there occasionally launch missiles at you that you have to shoot out. And the turrets that you find while on Gaspar are really dope too. They're mostly used to open up doors, but if you manage to evade the enemies and hop into a turret, you become nigh on invincible. The enemies aren't able to land hits on you while you're in one, and you can just blow everyone away. Super duper fun. I like the turret segments in this game. They're a joy. I may have gone a little bit sidetracked. Saving Hoven allows us to learn about the Gemlick base. There, we fight Quark in a battleship. This fight was a ton of fun. I did die to stupid levels of incompetence on my flying ability, but I didn't mind so much dying here a ton. Again, I like the spaceship battles in this game. They're a lot of fun, so dying just means I get to play them again. Ratchet outflies Quark and gets his revenge. Quark falls into the gravitational pull of the planet Oltanis down below, never to be seen or heard from again. Good riddance. Ratchet makes up with Clank after the fall of Quark, and together they steal a dope-ass ship. They watch an infobot before leaving about Quartu City being under attack, so they take Quark's flight path down to Oltanis. This is one of the rare planets where Ratchet is alone. Due to the frequent lightning storms on this planet, the people of Quartu City built their infrastructures to harness the free energy. But, this means that some robots are prone to being struck by lightning. Not sure why the enemies or my wrench aren't also being targeted by this clankating lightning storm, but because of it, I now have to platform on ice with no hover. On this ice path, however, we meet a gentleman who sells us the Gadgetron PDA. His name is
Steve.
The PDA allows us to buy ammo, but at a convenience fee. It's like DoorDash, but 20 years earlier. While eradicating the threats of robo superiority on Oltanis, we meet a crazy guy whose name I'm forgetting. He sells us an infobot to planet Quartu. So on to our new planet to explore. On Quartu, Clank takes down Drek's army of Ultra Mech Unlimiteds by having the creator give him a giant's body. This form is pretty cool. Clank can punch like normal, but he now has wrist-mounted missile launchers and the ability to launch Kameo waves. Destroying all the giant war robots earns the Kalebo 3 infobot, which we need to get the Hollow Guys if we're going to continue exploring Quartu. On Kalebo 3, Clank flirts with the Help Desk girl, and Ratchet flirts with the Gadgetron CEO. After a hoverboard race to establish dominance, the CEO makes Ratchet the new face of a new line of hoverboards, as well as giving us the Hollow Guys. We need the Hollow Guys to sneak into the factory and trick all the Clank's brothers before I destroy them savagely. The Hollow Guys allows Ratchet and Clank to disguise themselves as a slow-moving robot. You can wave at certain sentry guards to let them open up force fields. I don't really like it that much. You move too slowly. That's my opinion on the Hollow Guys. Anyway, after Metal Gearing our way into the factory, we meet Mom. Clank's mom is a cutie patootie, who hands us the final infobot. She tells Clank that she loves him, and the duo heads back to where this adventure began. Planet Veldin. And that, boys, is how you disguise an explanation of all the items and gadgets in a game by talking about the story very poorly. You're welcome. Ratchet and Clank make their way through a slowly dilapidating planet Veldin as they take on all of Drek's most elite forces. Ratchet seems to have taken down Quark's poster in his garage because Quark is no longer part of the living. Anyway, reaching another giant station, we transform Clank into a behemoth, and we clear through the final wave of enemies until we reach Drek at his deplanetizer. This weapon will destroy any planet. Veldin not only has the best orbit for Drek's completed Frankenstein monstrosity, but it also serves as a method to piss off Ratchet, since this is his home planet. Here, it's revealed that Drek's motives are as vicious as you'd think they are. Drek is the embodiment of corporate greed. He polluted his own planet so that he can create new ones to sell land to the new inhabitants of these new freaky planets, and he was planning to do this as many times as he can get away with, while laughing all the way to the bank. Clank and Drek have a giant mech battle only for Clank to shrink down, leaving the rest up to Ratchet's insane arsenal. After half a dozen attempts, Ratchet and Clank kill Drek, destroying the new planet and him with a flipped upside-down deplanetizer. The huge chunks of the resulting explosion crash land near the cliff face our heroes are standing on. This results in Clank having his arm nearly torn off as Ratchet held on for dear life. Clank manages to save Ratchet from the resulting fall. The two share an awkward goodbye, seeing as their adventure has ended, but Ratchet, being the nice dude he is, fixes Clank's arm, and the two of them hang out watching infomercials featuring this Steve guy. Beating Ratchet and Clank unlocks the ability to play the game again on New Game Plus. This might be one of the earliest games that I've played growing up that had a feature like this. I remember thinking it was really cool as a kid. I never beat this game as a kid, but my old landlord's son had, and he even had all the gold weapons and the coveted Rhino. So that was pretty dope. In order to get these fancy new weapons, you're going to have to do a few playthroughs. For starters, we need to talk about the content in this game. There are 40 golden vaults hidden throughout the Solanus solar system. Some of these are easy to find, while others have using the Visibomb to fly through tight corridors in order to open passageways to get to them. After collecting all 40 bolts, we're going to head back to the Gemlick base and wall jump up this pillar after killing Quark. Entering this teleporter, or the one on Novalis after starting a New Game Plus, takes us to the Golden Weapon Room. Here we can spend a collective 250,000 bolts and 40 golden bolts to gather all 10 golden weapons. This took me a full playthrough to collect most of the weapons, a New Game Plus playthrough to collect the Rhino and the Tesla Claw, and then I went back through every planet searching and breaking any box that appeared, as well as collecting as many of the hidden vault areas with the metal detector. And finally, another half playthrough of the New Game Plus before I managed to collect enough money to get all the golden upgrades. I'm not at all disappointed. I am not. The golden weapons are fucking awesome. All the golden upgrades do is pretty much make every weapon more badass. Whether that's making the Parasaurus flames reach super far, or making the Morpho Ray have faster morphing speeds while creating giant chickens. To even having larger explosions on most of the other weapons. One of my favorite improvements comes in the suck cannon, the golden suck cannon, where you now have up to 10 ammo and larger explosions. Oh my god, it's fantastic. The Devastator also now doubles as a bouncing Betty, and the blaster has homing ricocheting bullets. It doesn't even stop there. Every other weapon becomes incredibly more powerful. It's awesome. The gold weapons make playing through the game so much more fun. But that's not all this game has to offer. There are 30 skill points to be had in the New Game Plus. You can do these in the main game, but you're going to be mostly unaware of how to do them. Actually, you're probably not going to realize you can do them until you beat the game, because the game doesn't tell you that you can do them until after you beat the game. Shoot, even in the New Game Plus, some of these skill points are a little lacking in the hint department. The game only gives you the title of the skill point and not how to do it until you actually do it. Most of these skill points are basically destroy X number of flying ships with your arsenal, but some of these are pretty tough. Take Speedy, for instance. The title tells me I need to be fast, and you find this one on Rilgar, so I'm guessing I need to be fast in the hoverboard race. But how fast? I keep setting new PRs, but nothing. Let me hop onto YouTube real quick. Oh, okay, I need to be under 1 minute 35. I need to be under 1 minute and 35 seconds. What the fuck? I keep getting 1 minute 38 or 1 minute 36. How do I cut out these last 2 seconds? Trial and error, by the way. I did it by looking up a guide and spending nearly 2 hours mastering it. Like, that one's pretty tough. It was fun, though. I was frustrated as fuck, but I had a blast doing it. It's just one of those things. Like, even though I'm upset at the game, I'm having a blast playing it. I'm not, like, really mad at it. It's like, the frustration comes from, like, my lack of ability to do it, you know? So much fun. How about this skill point? How about this one? Strike a pose, right? That's the name of the skill point. How do you get that one? Do I make the court bot pose a certain way? No, silly. You need to know that you can leap off this skyscraper and glide down to Big Al's Robo Shop in order to stand in between the legs of his giant robot sign. How in the fuck was I supposed to know that? Without a guide, I wouldn't have guessed on how to complete half of these. The ones where I could have guessed on how to do them were maybe the ones like blast them or destroy, you know, like blow stuff up, mainly the ships here. How about this one? Any 10? Any 10 what? Oh, okay, any 10. Because how the fuck was I supposed to know that? The one I liked the most was a skill point called Going Commando. Not only do I find it funny, because the sequel to this game is called Going Commando, but I like it because it's a pun, like going bare naked. right? Going commando means going bare naked. In this case, don't use your weapons or gadgets to kill something. And since it's called going commando, I figured it has something to do with the commandos, the flying enemies with the pistols. So kill commandos with your wrench. And in this case, it's 10 of them. I didn't know that without the guide I was using, but I feel like if I had a working brain cell, I probably could have figured that one out. Or at the very least, kept hitting commandos with my wrench until I get it. Completing all the skill points nets you the sketchbook and the epilogue. These are concept art and in-universe magazines that tell us how our adventure impacted the solar system. It's also here where we find out Ratchet is a Lombax, little did you know. The gold weapons actually unlock cool stuff too. Collecting all the gold weapons gets us a making of Ratchet and Clank video, which is a video where the developers talk about the different aspects of the game's creation, and I fucking love that stuff. I'm a sucker. Give me 2B movies and a how the game was made video, and I'll be happy with 100% of the stuff. It's just too bad that my CD is really old and scratched to hell. This was really the only aspect of the game where it kept skipping, so I'm genuinely really sorry about that. I wish I had known that before recording to pick up another CD, but I'm not going to wait like 3 weeks for a new game just to 100%. No, it'd be in my save file, wouldn't it? Just for a new disc to watch a video. The other thing you get is a couple of commercials for the game from back in the day. These are really dope. When I remember flipping through the channels and watching this as like a fucking 4-year-old and being blown away by the Devastator commercial. Like, I remember some of these. It's pretty dope. I love everything in this game, even the bits that frustrated me. This game can be challenging. All right, there's a point where the challenge does increase. Like, it's a nice gradual increase. It's not like, oh, the game's unfair. Like there's a nice like curve to the difficulty in this game. It always feels rewarding every time I get to like those challenging bits and I like beat them. All of the rewards in this game really did have me coming back for more too. Like, I did those New Game Plus modes willingly. Like, I enjoyed myself that much with Ratchet and Clank. I kept coming back for more. Every time I beat the game, I just kept coming back. I was like, I got to go explore this planet again with the Rhino and a golden bomb glove. Fuck yeah, bro. I loved it. So much fun. Everything from the stunning visuals of the environments, the wacky and cartoony character designs, the genuinely silly and funny dialogue and jokes, to even the amazing score composed by David Core Bergode. Definitely mispronounced that. I am sorry. He did a majority of the Ratchet and Clank series, by the way, or at least the music. It has this sci-fi city feel to it. Super duper good. I would genuinely have most of the soundtrack on my playlist. Like, they're that good. It was such a joy revisiting this classic from my childhood, and I'm glad I was able to collect everything this time around. I never did that before. I was supposed to use my old profile where I had the Rhino to show off some of the cool stuff, but while I was recording the playthrough, I was having just so much fun, I decided to scrap that idea and just do it legit. Oh, I almost forgot to mention, this game has some cheats. They're a bitch to pull off because you have to do like specific sequences of jumps and attacks in order to do them. And all you get are mainly big head modes and a lackluster invincibility that's like 30 seconds long, but you have to be at full health every time you pick up a health upgrade. It's really lackluster. There are also debug codes that allow you to get any weapon or any gadget or item, as well as unlock any planet at any point in the game via the pause, by pausing the game and inputting like a normal cheat code, like a genuine cheat code. None of this silly wackadoo backflip, hyper strike, side flip 3 times, do a twirl midair bullshit. All right, fuck out of here. Ratchet and Clank was one of those series that I grew up watching others play, and then eventually I convinced my mom to bring me to KB Toys to pick it up. I even still have the poster somewhere, which doubles as a game's manual. Fucking check this thing out. There's a website that has like a bunch of old manuals on it, like PDF scans of them, and check it out. It's dope. Even I think the wiki has it somewhere. I always thought this was super duper cool. I used to love when game devs had like special manuals, like Cy Cooper's Thievius Raccoonus manual. Remember that one? That would like look like the book, or even this one. This poster is like just a super duper good example of that. These are just as dope now as they were when I was a kid. Ratchet and Clank for the PS2 brings back so many memories, and honestly, I think it still holds up really well. I think it deserves a solid 8.5 out of 10. but the only one that's holding this one back from getting a 9 is the lack of a strafe button, which is just a product of its time. You know, being the first game in the series, not having a strafe button, it kind of comes with the territory, but playing the later games and coming back to this one can make it a little difficulty, not having that. The other thing would be like some of the wonky feeling controls, especially the ones that make me like spin out of control during races. Like those were a little frustrating. They made skill points more unnecessarily difficult than they needed to be. But in terms of like the story wise, I do not like the moment when Ratchet and Clank begin beefing. Like, I'm not a fan of them arguing. It just doesn't feel right. To me, I feel like Clank should have also felt cheated by Quark's betrayal. You know, like not just Ratchet being like, well, fuck Quark, I want revenge, but I feel like Clank should have been like, well, fuck Quark, yeah, we should work together to stop this guy. Like I get that he's more logical, like, oh, well, the greater threat right now isn't Quark, it's Drek, we need to stop Drek. I get that, but like throughout the entire game, I feel like Clank was more so onto trying to find Quark than Ratchet was. I think Ratchet started off finding Quark, but then Clank went all gung-ho on finding Quark. And then he gets betrayed and he's just like, well, we should probably stop Drek. And Ratchet's like, we should fuck Quark up. We should kick his ass. And I don't like that. Like, it's just the one bit of the story where, like, I kind of lose interest in the story. It's like the two main heroes, like the two friends, like, just start bickering. And it's like, oh, that's not fun. But other than that, this is a solid game. I would pick this one up if I were you. Find it for a decent price. I think I found one for like 27 bucks on Amazon. It's not that bad. You could probably definitely find it cheaper online. But yeah, I had a blast. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. Anyway, next time we're going to finish a game series that I started on this channel when I first created it. I'll see y'all then.